Hello, it's the Imperfect Gardener, gardening for weight loss. I want to show you this morning a few tips on how overweight people can work in the garden and not be completely overwhelmed and overworked and begin losing weight and getting stronger. I am out in the garden right now, I'm standing up above the garden right now actually, because I want to show you some of the things that I do to help me in the garden. And from up here on my deck that's upraised, you'll be able to see the garden better. Here's my garden this morning, 8 o'clock. Right now the temperatures are much better than if I come out midday, obviously. It's only about 55 degrees this morning in Michigan. It's May 30th. You can also see that my garden is in the shade at this time of the day. The entire garden is shaded because the sun, I don't want to shine your eyes too much, but the sun's over there. Oh, it's going to burn your eyes if I look at it directly. But anyway, it's behind this tree, kind of. I've got this tree here that shades part of my yard. And I've got a couple of other trees over here in the neighbor's yard. And these trees, as the sun is coming up in the morning, give a nice shade to my garden plot. And this is a great time for me to go out and work in the garden because not only is it cooler in the morning, but it is more shade for me. The only thing I don't like is the mosquitoes. Late in the evening, you get a lot of mosquitoes. It's a good time to garden late in the evening. Early in the morning, might still have some of those mosquitoes out. However, it's 8 o'clock, 8:30. They start going away more. So I get out there and work it at this time of day. And it's better for me because then I don't get heat stroke from working in the hot sun. I've still got over here, as you can see, another row over here that I need to rake up. My son's been working on these. He makes these huge, beautiful raised beds for me. Planted this one, but this one isn't planted yet. And this area over here, I'm going to get all my squashes and zucchinis in. There's my corn over there. It's coming up and everything. So this is exciting for me. This year, I am very, very determined to eat all of the vegetables from my garden. Instead of just giving them away to everyone I know, I will give some to my family. However, I will eat most of them myself. By my family, I mean extended family. They get some too. And of course, my boys who live with me, they get vegetables too. However, in the past, there have been times that I have grown lots of vegetables and not eaten them. So this year I'm going to do it. Okay, so back to tips. Early in the morning, ding, ding, that's one tip that's good for you. Tip number 2, when the shade is on your garden, whenever that is for you, it's helpful. Another tip I have is you will see my little chair sitting out here. Have a chair by your garden. Sometimes you do get a little bit exhausted and you need to sit down for a minute. If you have a chair nearby, you could sit down for a minute and rest and still get back to work again after a little 5-minute break. If you don't have a chair near your garden and you go all the way in your house and sit down, I guarantee it's going to be harder to get out there and start working again. So I say have a chair nearby. Another tip that I have for folks who are overweight, I've got a lot of weeding to do down on this section. This is the first section that I planted with my lettuce and stuff. And it is time to get in there and start really picking out the weeds. The carrots down here are just getting big enough. I can make a video of that later maybe, but they're just getting big enough now to where I can really see what's the carrots and what's the weeds, and I can start pulling those weeds out. I can do this by, just bending down and picking weeds out, but kneeling is not really an option for me right now at my weight. It is not good for my knees, and it hurts, and it causes a lot of pain. So my other tip, my other little secret, although some people might think you look silly, I don't care. My other secret is I get a big, you can see how I have room in between my rows. I could take my rototiller down in between the rows right now when crops are small because I have left space to do that. The other thing that I do is I sit myself down on a big piece of cardboard. So I saved a cardboard box or two over the year, and what I will do is I'll cut it so it's a nice size, maybe about, 2 foot by 3 foot, and it will fit in these rows right here where I can put it on the ground, and I sit on it with my legs out in front of me, and I scooch along on my cardboard box. Or actually, I open the box up. I don't sit on a box. I flatten the cardboard, like I said, 2 foot by 3 foot, just a flat piece. That allows you to sit down in the dirt, but not be in the dirt and not get, totally wet and stuff. So I set that down and I sit on it, and I can reach on both sides of it to weed each of the rows on each side of where I'm sitting. And then I scoot along and I weed some more, and I scoot along and I weed some more. Now, how's that getting you exercise? Well, it's not a huge amount of exercise when you're sitting down weeding in your garden. It is exercise for your hands and your arms. Your arms are getting more muscly. Your legs aren't getting a lot of exercise at that point. That's okay. The point of weeding the weeds out is to help your stuff grow better. You have to do it. And if you're so heavy that it's really, really hard to weed, that is my secret. I sit down on a cardboard box and I shamelessly scoot myself along in the garden and pull weeds. I am blessed that, the only people who see me is my gardener, my neighbor over here, who loves me so much. She's going to plant her garden today right here. And I gave her some of my seedlings to get her started, and she's really excited. She has a garden every year also. So I was happy this year I could share some of my homegrown, indoor-grown seedlings with her. But she would never make fun of me because she loves me. And she looks at me and says, wow, look at that woman out there working her garden, as heavy as she is, and she's still doing it. Other than that, people don't really see me because this is my backyard. The neighbor back here isn't outdoors a great deal. She's a little bit older. And the neighbor over here is a younger guy, and he also looks at me and goes, wow, you're amazing having that big garden, working so hard. So this is something you can do. If it's hard for you to pull weeds, that's part of the reason that I leave all this space in between my rows. If you don't have that much space in your yard, your rows might need to be a little closer together, and this might not be feasible for you. However, for me, it works. So that's one of the other things I do. If I have to, I sit down and weed that garden, and it works. And as this summer goes on, my hope is that I will lose more weight. Eventually, I'll be able to kneel down if I want to in the garden and do my gardening that way. Right now, the only kneeling these knees are seeing is on a big soft pillow at the side of my bed each night. I'm not going to be kneeling outside and killing my knees. So, of course, the other option is some people do have something like a pillow, the little kneeling things that you can bring outside for gardeners to use. That's just not going to help me enough. So I don't plan on kneeling for at least a month or two out in this garden, and we'll see how the knees are doing. Anyway, those are a few tips to get you going if you are overweight, and to help you keep from having a heat stroke, and to help you stop from getting overwhelmed and feeling like you can't do it. Also, please keep remembering that I have had a garden for several, 8, 9 years. Last year I took the summer off from my garden. I have a big garden, and it's because I've had the experience with it. And it's also because people will look and go, that is a huge garden. But remember, I have all this space in between each of my rows because I like it. Allows me to get in there and work and not be stepping all over everything. So you don't have to have that much space between all of your rows. A lot of people do their gardening in a much smaller area. And if you're just starting out and you weigh as much as I do, I really recommend that you start with a smaller garden area than what I have here. And you can also put things in pots, which I am trying out this year. Oh, I shouldn't even show you because this is my patio right now. What a mess. Trying to get everything in to the garden. And I've really let things go out here. I haven't even set up my table yet out here. And I've got weeds growing over here that aren't supposed to be there. That's actually a weed. I got to get that out of there. My ferns are coming up. However, I'm going to have some pots that I'm throwing plants in. I've already got a couple over here. That big one that's by the door over here, it has a tomato plant in it. And I've got another one there you can't see from here that's got a tomato plant in it. This one I'm giving to my dear mother as soon as I make sure it's doing well. So I'm going to have some pots around here with plants in them growing this year. And you could do the same thing. One more tip that you can try that I'm going to do this year as well is I have some extra tomato plants that I still haven't gotten in the ground. Look over here. These are things I still haven't planted that I grew indoors. All the squash and stuff I'm going to try to get in today. But the tomatoes, I have some extras, and some of the ones I have extras of are my grape tomatoes and my cherry tomatoes. I will be taking at least one of each of those and putting it in my front flower bed right in front of the house. letting it grow out there. A little extra space, throw something in your flower bed. It's fine. You could throw a cucumber in your flower bed and let it grow up on things. Anyway, last night I dreamed and dreamed about gardening and all the ways that I could grow my plants and have them do well and eat them and get more healthy. So that's all for this morning. Get out there, get busy, do what you can, and I'm going to try to get out here before the sun gets over the horizon. Truth is, this will be shaded till probably along about 10 in the morning. So I still have a good 2 hours I can get out here and work this morning. Might not work that long, but I might. When it's shaded, you can do a lot more. I'm grateful that you are listening to my video and coming along with me on this journey for weight loss. I'm grateful that you listen to me when I go on and talk way more than necessary. I've been looking at some other YouTube videos and I'm like, wow, that guy's really good at just teaching something quick, short, easy. People probably watch his videos a lot. I talk too much, but that's just me. Maybe you like it. Maybe I'll make you laugh with my silliness. Have fun gardening.